Hey, friend, welcome back to the Road to Happiness podcast. We're your hosts, Josh and Cassie Spurlock, and today we're going to talk about oral sex. Does it freak you out?
I,
We
li-
want to thank our
I meant the subject that we're going to talk about it. I wasn't specifically talking about. Anyways, that's awkward.
we want to thank our sponsor, My Counselor Online, leading provider in faith-based mental health. All right,
What I was
we
trying
should,
to
yeah,
say
yeah, tell
is
us, what
that
were you
as a
trying to
certified
say?
sex therapist, I love when we get to talk about God's truth pertaining to
Mhm.
sex. That the enemy of our soul and the culture creates such a distorted effect around sexuality that causes folks so much anxiety and so much tension and so much fear and insecurity. And when we can just blow that away by bringing God's truth around sexuality into the picture, it makes me so happy. And it helps people have such
Yes.
freedom in their sexuality so that they can enjoy
Yes.
giving and receiving in mutual ways that honors God and makes him happy and is really fulfilling in relationship. And this is true of oral sex also. So,
This topic always reminds me, when I was a young Christian, there was an older, kind of Christian, like first person talking, not first, but early generation talking about sex openly. And I can remember somebody asking him, so, what do you think about oral sex? And him saying, don't knock it till you've tried it. And I always just get such a giggle thinking about that. But I think one of the important pieces is it's got so much interesting stigma around it. There's a curiosity on one end because God created us as sexual creatures and people are talking about it and you hear about it and it's kind of like all around in our face around the topic of sex. But then there can easily be like shame or disgust or confusion, or there's a lot of pieces of that.
yeah, and we want to address those things. You're in the right spot if you want to talk about sex, you want to learn about sex. This Road to Happiness podcast, we like to do that. I'm a certified
Yeah.
sex therapist. I've got an undergrad in biblical languages. I come at the topic of sexuality from the scriptures first, and then from the neuroscience and from the research around human sexuality and sexual health and functioning and happiness. And so, speaking God's truth on this
And
subject
from years of personal
and
experience.
years of personal practice and experience, wink, wink, and that as well. Yes. So yeah, it's just okay. Let's kind of dive into it. Let's start with the scriptures, right?
Yeah,
There is
great.
nothing in the scriptures that condemns oral sex. There is nothing that condemns in the scriptures you using your mouth to pleasure your spouse anywhere on their body,
Mm.
and everywhere on their body.
Mm. It's a bold statement.
It's a
And
bold
yet,
statement, and
you
yet
have to make a bold statement
go to the
because the
scriptures.
scriptures do not prohibit that. And
Absolutely.
not only do they not prohibit that, there is so much allusion to that in Song of Solomon. Like
It's pretty.
so much joy and encouragement and excitement and delight about lovers connecting.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Yeah, it's true. It's true. Let's talk some more theology here because I'm a theology nerd. I kind of nerd out about these things. There's a doctrine held in Christianity that we hold to be true called the doctrine of the sufficiency of Scripture. And what the doctrine of the sufficiency of Scripture says is that we believe that everything that we need to know in order to be fully pleasing to God is revealed to us within the Scriptures. The Scriptures are sufficient for us to know God, to be saved, and to please God with our life. So anything that is not addressed in the scriptures isn't important as it pertains to our being in right relationship with God or pleasing God. And so
Yeah.
the idea that oral sex would offend God in some way and could cause
But he wouldn't put it in
disconnection,
scripture.
but it's not communicated in scripture, is inconsistent with the doctrine of the sufficiency of scripture. And and so
And it's
we
inconsistent
can
with the character of a kind God.
right. Like he gave us our bodies, wired our bodies for enjoyment. And it's literally the first command that God gave
Be fruitful
humans.
and multiply.
Go forth and have sex. That's the very lots of sex. Fill the earth. Have so much sex you fill
Yes,
the earth.
fill the earth.
Failure. That's a lot of sex that's required to accomplish that, right? That was literally God's first command to people. Like he designed our bodies to enjoy it, and he's like, "You're going to love this. Now get after it." Then, right? So
Yes.
that doesn't mean it doesn't freak you out,
Yeah, for sure. The and there are reasons, right? Like
right?
there are always reasons.
There's
We think like,
always
well, it
reasons.
just is. It just
Mm-mm.
is. This is just how I feel. You came into the world with a blank slate. You feel how you feel because of something that's in your story, whether you're cognitively aware of that, often not. And so it
Yes.
invites us to get curious together. Why do I feel this way? What in my story is informing how my gut response now to these things?
Yes, and that's what we want to talk about because we've laid a foundation that says there's nothing in the scriptures that would suggest that oral sex is offensive to God. We have every reason to believe that it makes his heart happy for you to mutually enjoy each other's body, and that that's a good thing in the eyes of the Lord. And so we know that that's right and that's true, and we can trust that. So why do we feel different than that? And like Cassie said, we only feel tension and angst around it because we have had experiences of life, whether we are consciously aware or remember them or not, experiences of life that taught us to feel icky around this experience. And so if it's something that you want to explore, if it's something that you want to have freedom around and want to be able to enjoy for yourself, for your spouse, to enrich your relationship, then the pathway for that is to be able to heal around the experiences that made it feel icky. Now, there's lots of different things that could have happened. Could just be the messaging that you heard from people that you grew up around. It could have been the responses to a parent or grandparent or somebody important to you when the topic came up somehow in a movie or a different context, and their response sent the message. It could be just the silence around it. That
Yes,
silence
since
is
silence is
inherently
inherently
shaming.
shame.
Yes, all you need to do to create a sense of shame around something is to not talk about it. Because we don't talk about things that are shameful. And so if we don't talk
Yeah.
about it, it insinuates that something is shameful. So it could be as simple as that, or it could be from experiences that you had in your life somewhere along the line. It could be just a general discomfort with your body. Like there are lots of different things that it could be.
Lots and lots.
And we
Yes.
could spend like the next day in a continuous podcast unpacking all the things that it could be. There's good news.
Yes.
We don't have to do that. We don't have to like put on our sleuth hat and go hunting. Your body, your nervous system knows what happened that's creating this association. And so when you engage with, say, a NIC therapist who's completed their rotation in sex therapy, they're going to be able to lead you in a process of following the feelings back to the memories that created this experience for you and knowing what to do to unwind that, to heal that experience in a way that allows that to no longer color the way you experience your sexuality, not only in this aspect of your sexuality, but in other aspects of your sexuality also.
Yes.
That's the redemption that Jesus wants for you in your sex life.
And it matters so much, not just for your intimacy with your spouse, not not just for the freedom created there, but also for you as a sexual being and getting freedom from things in your life and past and experiences and story that are inconsistent with the freedom and joy and abundant life God has for you. Like, I'm not saying oral sex has to be part of your relationship with your spouse, but what I am saying is that God doesn't want the stress around it to be an inhibitor in your joy for yourself and with one another.
For sure. There's no command in scripture saying that you have to have oral sex, and you shouldn't feel kind of any sort of pressure or shame from your partner or spouse around this area. But it's also legitimate to want to have freedom and for your spouse to want you to have freedom in all the different areas of your life, including your sex life, and for that to be something that you continually grow in. So if you notice yourself not having freedom in a space of life, and it creates some loss for your spouse or for yourself,
Yeah.
then be willing to get curious about that. Be willing to lean into the process by which you can find healing around those things for your own self and for your relationship. So, yeah, that's what I want to cheer you on. As a sex therapist who's had an
Yeah.
opportunity to sit with many, many couples and unpack and unwind all the various things that can get in the way here, I can tell you with confidence that we have a very, very high success rate in helping people identify what's getting in the way and unwinding that so that they can enjoy all the different variety and freedom within their sex life that they want to and that they desire to. That our God is a redemptive God. He wants to heal and transform all the things that get in the way of his people enjoying the fullness of abundant life that he created for them, including their sex life.
Yeah. It's a
It's a
good
fact.
gift he has for us.
Yep. So if you need some help, reach out to my counselor online. We've got counselors that are trained in sex therapy that are able to help you identify and unpack these things. You can also find other resources on the My Counselor Online website or on our YouTube channel, other episodes on the Road to Happiness podcast. Like we're here cheering you on as you mature into true happiness. And we'll see you back here again soon.